Ich hoffe einfach mal, dass ich den Titel richtig geschrieben habe und bei VIII Soujirou keinen Fehler gebaut habe. Und begrüße euch herzlich willkommen zu... Ich wollte gerade sagen Shin Megami Tensei, aber nein, es ist Marusuke no Yoru oder Witch on the Holy Night. Und wir machen weiter mit dem nächsten Kapitel, Kapitel 5. Night of the Witches 1. Soujirou, ja, ich habe geschrieben. Returned to his apartment of food as per routine under a blanket of clouds in the night sky. The rusty stairs of his apartment building clanged with each step. Out of the corner of his eye, he could see the bicycles parked by the apartment building's outer wall. He debated the pros and cons of a bicycle, how much easier life would be versus the expense of convenience versus necessity, but in the end, decided one was not right for him just now. Clutching the bags of apples under his arm, he took out the key to his residence. He tilted his head in confusion. More and more he found himself preoccupied with random thoughts. The real issue at hand was deciding what to do with the apples he had received. He placed the paper bag by the sink and watched on the lights. It was just after 10 in the evening. With the end of term exams just around the corner, he had come home an hour earlier than usual. As he went back to the kitchen to pick one of the apples to snack on, he found an envelope stuffed in his mail slot. The envelope had no name, return address or stamp. Inside was a single piece of paper that had only the sender's name on the short message. It read,
話があるので、今夜どこそこのここに来られたし、大事なようなので、来るまでずっと待っている。言うまでもなく、他言無用。
Eine Drohung. A concise set of orders, neatly written. It was signed Aoko Aosaki. She had been considerate enough to enclose a detailed map of the meeting place. Puzzled, he cocked his head to his side, then headed out to the door. Afterward, upon the room's sole tenant leaving the premise, the envelope burst into flames and evaporated without a trace, as though it had never existed in the first place. By the late 80s, Japan's post-volcanic boom had somewhat stabilized. The city experienced a period of steady growth. The city's modernization marched on, and the Japan Railway's train station, a symbol of the new era, near completion. In Misaki neighboring tower of Yashirogi, a new symbol of its own was about to be born. Yashirogi breed and land. It was Misaki's worst investment. Years later, he dubbed the fool's gold of the economic bubble, a relic of bygone age. 10 years ago, Yashirogi, renowned Tokyo banking company, ran factories all across the nation. Its proprietor was a middle-aged gentleman, then aged 56, by the name of Yurihiko Tokitsu, known affectionately by most as Topan. He took it upon himself to begin development on an estate on the outskirts of Yashirogi and broke ground on the recreational wonderland that he hoped to be the pride of Misaki City. The long-awaited opening came in 1981. Wow, es gibt sogar verlassen Vergnügungspark. Wie unerwartet! Host, Toast. After 3 years of investment, the local amusement park, full of all kind of hopes and dreams, began its short-lived tenure. It covered more than 85 square acres. A magnificent merry-go-round dazzled all who passed through the park gates. His roller coaster twisted and turned around the ashes on the park like a writhing Japanese dragon. The Ferris wheel, packed beyond necessity with gimmicks, was said to have tested the limits of modern engineering. Old Yurihiko looked upon the creation and smiled. Only boosting his confidence was the fact that this grand opening was staged during a period of prosperity in springtime of the world. But in spite of this, the splendor miscalculated the balance between aspirations and sophistication. A mascot Kitsy was poorly designed and appeared like a cheap knockoff. The park was stuffed to the brim with breed stands. Even its impossible to navigate mirror maze seemed out of date from the start. There are no dreams to be at Kitsy Land, only nightmarish satire. Numerous trybaxes lambashed Kitsy Land's shortcomings, and customer attendance declined. There was even an incident a 6-year-old strayed from his mother had an accident and nearly died. 1986, 5 years after the park opened, the situation grew from bad to worse, and the park was hagging money. On top of everything, Yurihiko who had been everything on the success of mascot Kitsy, retired, and Kitsy Land operation were officially in trouble. And thus, amidst the scorn of nearly all residents of the area and the Iwasaki city's one and only amusement park. What's more, perhaps he best described as footnote of his debacle at the self-proclaimed Parisian artist who designed the mascot, Tokyo Ulich, was said to have snapped his brush in mourning over the closure of the park. Returning to the present, it was admitted that the Kitsy Land of today was a shadow of its former glory. Like a doll abandoned in the corner of a toy box, the lonely park was illuminated only by the light of the town that had continued to live around it. Soujirou closed the Yashigori guidebook that he had picked up on the way here. The story of his history was almost difficult to believe, but he supposed that this was what people refer to as entropy. The park's front gate was unlocked. When he worked here, the previous time the RFS was locked shut for rusty chain, but the chain was nowhere to be seen, and the gate left ajar. Following the map drawn in the letter, Soujirou quickly made his way inside. Soujirou played quite of character for him. It was probably because in spite of his naivety, even he knew that something was amiss. Though the park was abandoned, this was still trespassing. Unlawful entry, larceny, burglary. There were certainly not things or perhaps crimes that Soujirou was proud to do, but money, the real reason his conscience was gawning at him. He clapped his hands in apology towards the statue of Kitsy, on whose eyes the paint had begun to apply the salve. Soujirou passed the mascot bleeding red paint from his eye sockets and began to walk the night park. The building colors faded. The collection of machines was rusted. Man-made residents no longer felt the passage of time. Even the ghost himself could not endure the disparity between the forsaken place and its previous grand stature. It was like fossilized dream. These were the ruins of paradise, both created and adorned by man and reality. The economy had stabilized, and the standard of living was on the rise. Nobody was overly concerned with the future. These were remnants of a wild and exciting area. His breath turning to white wisp before him, Soujirou continued through the abandoned amusement park. Though void of human presence, this was not nearly as frightening as the darkness deep in the mountains. Sea sub-earths can take many different forms, but Kitsune was unusual for the amusement park in so much as it had been built and gauged into a residential district. The park was surrounded by a forest, but even that I believe was man-made. It was no different from the curtains on the classroom window. If you were to scale the iron fence encircling Kitsune and break through the 20 yards of forest trees, you could make it back to the familiar townscape. The amusement park tended to arouse dread in the city folk, so Soujirou was a little different from the commotion of terror of downtown. The central plaza was as silent as a grave. According to the map, the meeting spot was the rest of here. Where for Soujirou and the station was a rugged post to bring the physical castle towering before the backdrop of the clouds night sky. Even for the Abdon Park, it was a remarkable structure. The roller coasters and the Ferris wheel were loud, intense attractions. This was a combination quiet and easygoing. It was one of his three iconic structures. In a way, the wicked fortress that guided this paradise down the path of closure. Generally speaking, amusement park mazes generally fell into one of two categories. A labyrinth which so retains the visitors with its sheer size, and a house of mirror which draws the visitors with optical illusions. Many of the labyrinth's guests enjoyed the brief sense of adventure that it afforded. Over the years, however, it would be usurped by the ever-increasing thrills of new attractions, just in the way of all trends, the curse of fates. The new must give way to the newer. On the other hand, the House of Mirrors was a time-honored, beloved staple. Even if the confines of a classroom dimensions, well-placed mirrors and well-directed lights could both perplex the delight in visitors, and figuring in the cost of maintenance, as well-designed House of Mirrors could far outlive its labyrinth brethren. Even if both types faded into obscurity, they would remain a staple of what constituted an amusement park. However, that didn't mean that combining them would produce double the fun. Together they transformed from entertainment into an uncanny realm from which those who dared to step within could never leave. In a similar sense, Kitsune Mystery Tour Castle was the park's very own other world. Indeed, 5% of visitors ended up requesting staff assistance to get out. Modeled after European castles, it was greater than a football field in length, and the interior was further split into 3 floors. 2 floors above ground and 1 above below, lined with mirrors from top to bottom, equal parts complex and vast. The maze demanded at least 30 minutes, even from veterans. One visit was all it took to be struck by claustrophobia for hours. It was labyrinth that now stood in Soujirou's way. It sees Soujirou unaware of what a House of Mirrors even was, concerned himself only with its lightning. He checked the letter from Oko once more. The letter read, "I'll be waiting in the first floor lobby of the House of Mirrors." That meeting point was definitely in here. There was something to be seen by at least, as he could just make out light faintly through the open doors. Putting aside his suspicion, he headed towards the entrance. The sound of his steps against the brick-laid path echoed faintly. He was far from the hustle and bustle of the city. The park clocks no longer made tick nor tock, and the winter's bite no longer blew in the night. From within the silence, the stillness that would cause any onlooker to hold their breath. Soujirou stopped abruptly at the entrance to the House of Mirrors. He called out, turning back toward the plaza. A sound rang as if someone had dove by the garbage can and it fell to the ground in a haste. A short silence ensued. For a moment, the one park returned to its previous hush. Reassigned her having been exposed, the girl appeared from her hiding place.
Oh.
His voice died in his throat as he took in the sight of the girl's familiar face in unfamiliar attire. This Oko with her long hair following in the breeze was different from the Oko that Soujirou knew. The resolute stage, a posture she took exuded the strength of her will. She stared directly at him with a sharp-eyed, piercing gaze. Her eyes were glowing with a dim phosphoric light, enough to give Soujirou pause that he might be hallucinating. An icy coldness in the girl's strength. Soujirou lacked a sense of danger, but the sense of imbalance caused even him to feel the malicious in the air. It was through the Yuki Ona's spirit of folklore had climbed out from a ghost story and appeared here in reality. Yuki Ona, was war das aber für eine Gestalt? Nicht Apotheke am Stadtpark. Yuki Ona. Yuki Ona ist ein fiktives Wesen des japanischen Volksglaubens, das Gruppe Yokai gezählt wird. Ja, das war klar. Scheiße. Als zierlich hochgewachsene Frau oder als zierliches Mädchen, sie hat knielange schneeweißes, seltener Pech, schwarzes Haar und trägt eben weiß in ganzen Kimono. Ihr Wesen wird zwiespaltig beschrieben. So soll sie aufkommen Schneestürme warnen, aber manchmal verirrte Bergwand in Schneestürme locken, wo die Opfer dann jämmerlich erfrieren. Auch wird ihr nachgesagt, dass die kleinen Kinder davon warnen, nachts dann draußen spielen. Tut der Kind dies dennoch, wird es von einer Schneefrau entführt. Sehr gut, bis wieder da, wo ich aufgehört habe. Instantly, Soujirou took a step back, surprised he was starting to feel concerned. An unpleasant promotion rose to the surface, bringing with it a sense of anxiety. In spite of this, he felt obliged to honor the urban etiquette by seeing if she was alright. Without acknowledging him, Aoko took a step forward. Her figure, as I touched the shoe for himself, recalling recent memory. He twisted out with a passion and melted away, and he was replaced with a growing realization. The girl before him was very similar to someone he had seen before. The night in the park, thought he'd only seen her from behind. With increasing certainty, causing him to swallow nervously, he noted that they might as well have been identical.
何をしていたかって話なら見ての通りよ。ここで獲物が通り過ぎるのを待ってたの。あなたが入ってから私も入って逃げ道をなくすつもりだったから。
Aoko said, perturbed by the swift change in plans. Soujirou was madly revealed he had not go to the wrong place. It was unclear whether he felt confident about dealing with that was to come, or if he had simply fallen to grasp the hopelessness of the situation. Aoko ignored his obtuse response and continued.
私はね、しずき君。嫌いな人とか憎い人とかは人並みにいるんだ。ただ、ちょっと変なのが敵になるやつの条件でね。
Cold emotion burned in her eyes. Her feet already moved one step closer to Soujirou. Soujirou's sense of foreboding was growing stronger. Wondering if he had sense was bloodlust, he retreated another step. Continuing as so, they maintained distance just 50 feet.
昔から私は嫌いな相手でも敵と思ったことはなかったの。でも逆に好きな相手を敵だと思うこともあった。理由は単純。
She held her right hand arm out. The light about her was no illusion.
当たり前のことだけど、私は私の感情を乱すやつが敵なのよ。
Her arm moved again. It was incendious. Something shot past Soujirou in the blink of an eye, missing him by just a foot to his left. Before his eyes, the blue light, something akin to a fireball, had ignited from nothing. He finally understood what was happening. She noticed his dim-witted reaction. Ako muttered to herself. The fist-sized hole in the blue light had made in the house's mirrors crackled and smoldered. A shot like that could easily cave in human skull in addition to burning it to crisp.
こんな射程で外すなんてアリスに見られたら自殺者ね。でもこれで分かったでしょ。二度目だもんね。あなた。
Soujirou backed away swiftly. Things were working incomprehensible. He was close to losing the ability to think at all. All he could make out was a figure of the dependable student council president, or at least what he had thought was the president, and the memories of the park the night 2 days ago. He had never experienced anything like this. Though most people living in a civilized country would never have seen anything like it either. A lethal weapon that could kill with nothing more than the pull of a finger had a way of suspending the ability of his target to differentiate between not just good and evil, but dreams and reality, past and future. And more peaceful someone's life had been, the stronger the suspension was likely to be. All that one could think about was the fact that they were alive at the very moment. It was as if it was unwritten character of a blank piece of white paper. There was no before, there was no after. There was only what came next. This was very common thought process for anyone staring down the barrel of a gun.
命乞いはやめてね。意味ないから。でも恨み事ならご自由に。殺す側の義務として一言一句聞いてあげる。
By saying it was pointless, she made it sound more like she would not listen to what he had to say. However, Soujirou was in such a state of shock that it did not even enter his mind to speak up. All he knew for reason unknown was the girl in front of him wanted him dead. Soujirou felt that if he had said that aloud, the second blast would come even quicker than the last, so he kept it to himself. His mental explanation steered his mind from paralysis to mere panic. This response came out from confidence, however. Someday, out of the blue, someone is going to kill me. That may seem like a baseless belief to hold.
都会には殺人事件がある。ルールを破れば殺されるのは当たり前だってちゃんと教えてもらってた。
The social actually seemed to perfectly align with his inexperienced understanding. The city was a cold and pragmatic place. As far as he was concerned at this moment, being killed by a classmate was not something to be surprised by. In a society where murder was possible, he was able to accept this situation as natural, or of virtuality. No concern was the series of events that led Oko's aggression towards him. The only thing that truly confused him was Oko's blue fireball. Soujirou swallowed it out to the gulp. To everyone who may have been watching, it was a responsible victim paralyzed by fear.
そういうことよ。ようやく理解してくれたわね。多くは語らないけど、あなたにはここで死んでもらう。魔術は隠匿するものなんて言っても、そっちには関係のないことだし、単に運がなかったって思えばいいわ。大事なのは私。
Then Takeoku once again lifted her right arm. There was a hub-like machine. Blue light began to revolve about her arm beneath her sleeve. This was taking longer than last time, leading Soujirou to believe that it was going to be much stronger than the attack. It was still scoring the wall behind him. The realization caused this panic to heighten.
始末するとかしないとか、あの夜のお化けは青崎だったとか、都会は本当に込み入ってるとか、そういうことじゃなくて。
His thoughts became jumbled. His heart pounded like a hammer. This was no time to be standing still. He was not sure if the girl in front of him was really a human, and no more importantly, even if he could accept the events unfolding before him. When all was said and done, even was the fact of life in the city, so she was not about to lie down and die. So she screams, still entirely oblivious was just the thing to evoke Oko's full wrath. Oko fired a bird of blue magic bullets. In an instant, Soujirou dashed into the shadows behind him, into the entrance of the House of Mirrors. He dared feverishly down the hall. After a mere few feet, he was left completely out of breath. This was due to the shock, as he had another attack fiercer than the first that he had never seen in his life, and because he couldn't shake the thought that he had moved even a second later, he would be dead. He could not afford to stop. The sound of merciless footsteps closed in behind him. He threw everything to his legs as he sprinted. A straight narrow passage about 50 feet long connected the entrance to the main lobby. At this rate, if he could just make it to the lobby, he was sure he would be able to find as many hiding spots as he needed. He arrived in a large open space. This was the first floor lobby. There were 3 passageways. One at the basement floor, one connected to the first floor maze, and the other was set stairs leading to the second floor. So he did not particularly care. He usually chose to trusting his intuition. He made a run for the first floor maze when he smacked his head into a transparent wall.
ええ、面倒だけど、それならフェアでしょ。追いかける方にも逃げる方にも有利不利がある。
A somehow cheerful voice echoed in his direction. There was no need for Soujirou to even turn around. In the very same mirror he had crashed into the curb, he could see Aoki's figure slowly approaching.
1階の奥にある出口は封鎖しといたから。結界じゃなくて物理的に。
Oh! Physisch abgesiedelt und nicht... Interesting.
やりすぎて封鎖っていうより瓦礫？土砂崩れ？どっちでもいっか。とにかく下手に出口に近づくと崩落に巻き込まれるから。生き埋めが嫌なら近寄らないことね。
Carried by the panic footsteps, Soujirou grabbed for the wall. He could see the stairs up to the second floor. He did not understand what Oko had meant earlier, but he at least knew that the first floor was not going to save him.
私としてはそっちのが助かるけど。形式上 事故死の方が後始末とか楽だから。
By him was a creature beyond words. As she continued her idle taunting, she lifted her right arm ostentatiously. Even from above her clothes, one could see some kind of strange, incongruous pattern upon her body. The veins beneath her skin, they made it seem through something inhuman was circulating her body. Whether out of pity or repulsion, Soujirou stopped for just a moment. His pursuer evaded his gaze.
ああ、これ？普段は塗り薬で隠しているんだけど、今日は特別。魔術刻印って言ってね、魔術師の証みたいなものよ。ほら、光が回ってるでしょ？これがさっきのスナップ。今日は調子いいし、私魔力を効率よく使うのだけは自信あるし。うん、あと30回ぐらいかな。さっきみたいに装着できるの。
Perhaps she was on emotional high, for her voice had becoming frightfully friendly. The substance of the conversation could not have been any more unsettling, however.
そもそも何を言っているかよくわからないんだけど。
わからない？段数はあと30発ってこと。そこまで逃げ切ればあなたの勝ちよ。とりあえず今日のところはね。
今日はって明日もあるのかな。
She knit his brows. Okay, smashing keys into a scroller with his paper. Also, he was panicking. It seems that deep down he still did not feel the full weight of the crisis. Er ist einfach so süß naiv. She knew he still didn't get it.
宣言はしたわ。自由時間はこれでおしまい。まだ罵り足りないだろうけど、その手の時間はキリがないしね。この辺りで諦めて。
The Pitterholder prepared the spiritic dialogue ahead of time. Not allow her put in time for fully pleading, but give him the time to curse her, his killer. Such forthrightness was her modus operandi with this victim. However, it was not going as she had hoped.
とにかくそういうことだから。じゃ、狩りの時間と行きましょうか。
Her voice was void of emotion, and her eye ruthless as they bored into her prey. This time Soujirou finally accepted that he was going to die. Ja, ich weiß, es war ein kurzer Stream. Aber ich habe leider um 1 eine Verabredung, beziehungsweise muss um 1 eine Verabredung fertig machen. Aber ich hatte einfach spontan Lust weiterzulesen. Aber ich will mir das Archiv schauen. Ah, okay. Vielleicht streame ich nachher weiter. Dann mal adios und vierte.